Salvete discipuli! In this tutorial video, we will read together Epistula Agricolae, the letter that General Agricola sends to Emperor Domitian explaining his victory over the Caledonians. Gnaeus Iulius Agricola Domitiano Imperatori salutem dicit. Gnaeus Julius Agricola says greetings to Emperor Domitian. This is the standard, what we call epistolary formula when you write a letter to someone in ancient Rome. You start with your name in the nominative. You have in the dative Domitiano Imperatori to Emperor Domitian. Now, the long form is you have what we have here. Dicit says salutem, greetings. However, the short form, he could have just simply written an S here, and that would have been short form for salutem dicit. Septimus annus est Domine, ex quo pater tuus divus Vespasianus ad provinciam Britanniam me misit, barbaros superandi causa. It is the 7th year, master. Now, ex quo literally just means out of which. I'm going to be translating it here as since, because we're talking about time. So it's the 7th year, master, since your father, pater tuus, the divine Vespasian, divus Vespasianus. Remember, the Romans they voted by the Senate to deify their emperors after they died, and since this is talking about his father who has now died, he refers to him as the divine Vespasian. 7th year since he did what? Misit me, sent me to the province. Now, I'm putting of in parentheses here. Both provinciam and Britanniam are accusative, okay? Britanniae would be of Britannia, like with using the genitive. But here, so literally to the province Britannia, but better English is the province of Britannia. Now, why did your divine father send me to Britain? Causa. This is an ablative. If this text had long marks, there would be a long mark over this A. Causa, for the purpose or the reason, superandi. This is a genitive gerund, okay, for the purpose of overpowering. And this genitive gerund is going to take a direct object in the accusative plural for the purpose of overpowering the barbarians. Tu ipse auditis precibus meis iussisti Caledonios quoque in populi Romani potestatem redigi. Tu ipse, you yourself. Now he's addressing the Emperor Domitian. You yourself. Now we have here auditis precibus meis. This is an ablative absolute construction. So literally, with my prayers having been heard. Now what he's referring to is that at some point he had written to Domitian kind of suggesting that maybe we should go to war against the Caledonians. I've got the army ready, but he's not going to do anything without the emperor's permission or command. So with my prayers having been heard means he requested the right to do a campaign, and then with my prayers having been heard, iussisti, okay, you ordered. Now I'm going to convert this, with my prayers having been heard, a better English translation. After you heard my prayers, ordered the Caledonians also. Now, keep in mind, the Caledonians, Caledonios, this is the direct object of the verb iussisti. You ordered the Caledonians, but we're going to have a passive infinitive here. So he ordered something to be done to the Caledonians, namely redigi. This idiom here, in potestatem redigere, is to bring under control. But remember, you remove the ERE and you add an I and you create the passive infinitive. So In potestatem redigi, with the passive infinitive here, means to be brought under control. Now, populi Romani, this is genitive, so literally of the Roman people. So to be brought under the control of the Roman people, but it's natural when you've got this genitive complement to actually put it between. The preposition in goes with potestatem, okay, to be brought under the control. Normally, of course, we think of in as in or into. In this particular idiom, we're translating it using English words, to be brought under control, to be brought under the control of the Roman people. Again, this genitive complement is coming between the words in and potestatem, which go together. Nunc tibi nuntio exercitum Romanum magnam victoriam retulisse. Okay, we're going to have another idiom here. Now, this verb, refero, okay, it's very irregular, refero, but in the perfect tense, retuli, to be brought back. Now, when you use this verb with the direct object victoriam, literally it means to bring back a victory. But in English, we say to win a victory. So that's how I'm going to render it. So now I announce to you, tibi nuntio, this is triggering an indirect statement. I announce to you that the Roman army, exercitum Romanum, it's accusative, and remember, in an indirect statement, the accusative is, first of all, the subject of the infinitive, okay? And then the infinitive itself can have a direct object also in the accusative, okay? So again, the hallmark of an indirect statement is a bunch of accusatives and infinitives, and we have to sort them out to become a sentence. So I announce to you that the Roman army has won a great victory. Bellum est confectum, Caledoni sunt victi. The war is finished, the Caledonians are conquered. Initio huius aestatis exercitus noster ad ultimas partes Britanniae pervenit. In the beginning of this summer. So initio, this is an ablative ending, an ablative of time here. In the beginning, huius aestatis, these are genitive singulars. In the beginning of this summer, our army arrived. Okay, pervenit is our main verb at the end. Where did our army arrive? Ad ultimas partes, at the farthest away parts. The farthest away parts of what? Of Britannia, genitive singular ending there. Hostes adventu nostro cognito, prope montem Graupium se ad proelium instruxerunt. The enemies. Now we have a little miniature ablative absolute construction here. So literally, with our arrival having been learned of, okay, and you know you can always convert an ablative absolute into something a little more natural. You could say with when our arrival had been learned of, or even when they learned of our arrival, what did they do? They drew themselves up to battle. Okay, this idiom, se instruxerunt. They drew themselves up to battle. Where did they do it? Prope montem Graupium, near Mount Graupium. Ibi milites nostri spe gloriae adducti, victoriam nomine tuo dignam retulerunt. There our soldiers. Okay, now we had this idiom earlier. Literally, to bring back a victory is to win a victory. Now, this victory is further going to be described as dignam. Okay, so these words go together. A worthy victory. Okay, so our soldiers, but before we get there, we have another clause here with a past participle. So our soldiers are described as adducti, led. What were they led by? They were led by hope. Spe is a fifth declension noun like res, okay? So space and spem in the accusative. Spe is the ablative form. They were led by hope, By hope of what? Gloriae, genitive singular. Led by hope of glory, they won a worthy victory. Now, in your name, nomine tuo, remember he's talking to the emperor, this element is placed between victoriam and dignam, which go together. Okay, so literally, like what he actually said was a victory in your name worthy. What he's really trying to say is like worthy, is like it's worthy of his name, would be another way to render this. Non satis constat quot hostes perierunt, sciotamen paucissimos effugisse. It is not generally agreed. Okay, this is an idiom right here. It is not generally agreed. Now, you could take the known away, and then this would mean it is generally agreed. Okay, it is not generally agreed, quot hostes perierunt, how many enemies perished. He's going to now introduce another indirect statement. I know, however, that paucissimos effugisse, very few escaped. Exploratores mei affirmant non nullos superstites salute desperata etiam casa suas incendisse atque coniuges liberosque manu sua occidisse. Okay, this is a lengthy indirect statement construction with, once again, a little mini ablative absolute thrown in. Okay, so my spies affirm that. Okay, so non nullo superstites is accusative. It's going to be the subject of the indirect statement. And remember, it's the subject of infinitives. These are past tense infinitives. It's the subject of those infinitives, and those infinitives themselves are going to take direct objects. Now, some survivors. In Latin, non means not, nullos means none. Not none is the Latin way of saying some. So my spies affirm that some survivors, literally, salute desperata, with safety having been given up on. Okay, what that means is they've given up on, like, their own safety. Okay, what did these survivors do? Etiam, they even, and the point he means by even is what they're going to do is something pretty extreme. They even set fire to their houses, casa suas incendisse. And now the next thing they did is really disturbing here. They killed their wives and children. They killed their wives and children, and we learn that the means or manner with which they killed their wives and children was manu sua. They killed their wives and children with their own hand. De bello satis dixi. Concerning the war, remember that de, the preposition de, followed by the ablative, bello is ablative. That preposition means concerning almost all the time. It only means down from if you have a word like mountain or hill. Okay, so when you see de, your first instinct should be to translate it as concerning or about. So concerning the war, satis dixi, I have said enough. Nunc bellorum causae tolendae sunt. Nunc pax firmanda est. So, we have some gerundive constructions here. Remember, the distinction between a gerund and the gerundive construction. The gerundive construction has a form of the verb to be. Here in the singular, it's est. Here in the plural, it's sunt, okay? And remember, this is why you memorized the sentence, Carthago delenda est. Carthago delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed. That's a gerundive construction. A gerund looks the same. It's got the same nd. We had one earlier where, remember, Caledonios superandi causa. So for the purpose of overpowering the Caledonians. Okay, so that's a gerund. That's a gerund. This is a gerundive. Now, this verb tolere, it means to take up something. Here, idiomatically, it actually means to like stop talking about something. So now the causes of wars, bellorum causae, must be done away with. Now, what he means is he's not going to talk about the causes of wars anymore. He's going to talk about like what's the future going to look like now that the Romans have won this victory. Okay, so now the causes of wars must be done away with. Now peace must be established. So again, when you look at these, you do need to look up what these verbs mean, but when you see these, you should be thinking, Carthago delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed. Omnibus eius peperci qui se dediderunt. I spared. Okay, remember the I of a first person singular perfect tense. The I there means I did an action. This verb takes a dative object. So the object of I spared, these are datives. Omnibus eius. I spared all those qui, all those who literally gave themselves up. Okay, se dediderunt, and that means surrendered. I spared all those who surrendered, meaning he's not just going to commit a mass execution of the prisoners of war. He actually wants now to transition into a period of time when the Romans are occupying a people who he wants to cultivate to be friends and allies of the Romans. Per totam provinciam centuriones frumentum ac tributum molius quam antea exigere iussi sunt. Through the whole province, okay, now the subject is going to be centuriones. The verb is down here, okay, iussi sunt. It's actually then the perfect tense of the verb to order, but passive. So the centurions have been ordered, okay, iussi sunt. Through the whole province, the centurions have been ordered to do something. What they've been ordered to do, exigere means to exact. Now, to exact means to extract or to take, okay? So they've been ordered to exact frumentum ac tributum, grain and tribute. Now, they were accustomed to going up to a farm and saying, hey, we are the Romans, you're going to give us half your grain, okay? If you don't give us half your grain, you're going to die. So you pick. You get to keep half your grain or die, basically. Those are your two options. And so the people the Romans are exacting tribute and grain from, they don't like it, but they have to do it. Okay, and so tribute would be the same thing. It's do you have 100 pieces of gold? Well, guess what? I'm taking half of them. Okay, or you die. Okay, so through the whole province, the centurions have been ordered to exact grain and tribute molius, more gently, quam antea, than before. What this means is he's actually telling them, okay, you used to go and take half the grain. Well, the next time you go, okay, so the farmer sees them coming and goes, oh God, get ready, we have to give them half our grain. The Romans come up and say, hi, we are the Romans, we are the occupiers, we need to eat too, so we would like you please to give us 25% of your grain. Okay, and the farmer goes, wait, you used to take half. Well, we want to be friends, and we know that that's a little oppressive, so we are now exacting grain and tribute molius quam antea, more gently than before. Okay. We also need some money. Do you have 100 gold pieces? We'll take 10 of them. And he goes, whoa, you used to take half my stuff. Now you're leaving me so much. So, and the idea is this is what the American army during the invasion of Iraq referred to as winning hearts and minds. Okay. So, in order to make the occupying people actually like you being there, you have to do nice things for them. So this is what Agricola is now ordering the centurions to do. Ego ipse Britannos hortatus sum ut templa fora domos extruant. Filiis principum persuasi ut linguam latinam discant. I myself, ego ipse, hortatus sum. Remember, this is a deponent verb, and so the perfect tense of a deponent looks like the same iussi sunt we had previously, but that was passive. This has the same form of a passive, but it's translated actively. I myself have urged the British. Now, ut, so that or in order that, ut is going to be the content of what he has urged the British. He has urged the British literally that they may build, okay? But better English, you could even say, I have urged the British to build. To build what? Temples, forums, houses. So in other words, he's ordering them, or urging them in this case, to kind of just become a little more civilized. I persuaded, persuasi. Now, persuasi takes a dative object. Filiis is a dative object here. I persuaded filiis principum, the sons of the chieftains, meaning the native British leaders, have sons. Those sons are going to be chieftains after them. I persuaded the sons of the chieftains, again, that they do what? Ut, that they may learn the Latin language, okay? I persuaded the sons of the chieftains, you could just say to learn Latin. Now, again, they're playing a long game here. He knows that to the extent that the next generation actually speaks Latin, they're going to be Latinized, okay? And so it worked very well in Gaul, okay? Gaul today, to this day, also Romania, it worked well there, worked well in Spain. In other words, these places were Latinized so well that even today the languages they speak are descended from Latin. Now, it didn't work in Britannia. The occupation of Britannia, it lasted as long as the occupation of Romania, to be honest, but it didn't succeed in leaving behind a Romance language. But he had the plan anyway, that they might try to accomplish that. Mores Romani a Britannis iam adsummuntur ubique aspiciuntur togae. Roman customs already, mores Romani. Roman customs already, this is a passive verb, are adopted. Adopted by whom? A Britannis. Remember the preposition a takes ablative. So Britannis, that is an ablative plural ending. Roman customs already are adopted by the British. Ubique means everywhere. Everywhere togas are spotted. Again, a passive verb in the present tense here. Meaning now, all of the Britons, they want to look Roman, and so they know the Romans wear togas, so now they're all wearing togas too. Una cura tamen me solicitat. One concern, however, worries me. Timeo ne inquietas sit Britannia, dum Hibernia insula in libertate manet. I am afraid that. Now, ne is the negative version of ut. Okay, so ne is supposed to be the equivalent of ut non, so that not. Okay, but a weird little thing of Latin grammar. When you have a verb of fearing, okay, timeo, I am afraid, ne actually, with a verb of fearing, ne loses its negative sense, okay? So it's not I'm afraid that something doesn't happen, I am afraid that something does happen, okay? So again, after a verb of fearing, we use ne, but we pretty much translate it as if it's ut. So I am afraid that Britain may be unsettled, and unsettled here, inquieta, in the sense of like still restless, not completely taken over, okay? He's afraid that that might happen while something else happens. Namely, I am afraid that Britannia may be unsettled while Hibernia Insula, this is Ireland, okay? As we know, it's smaller than Britannia and it's right next door, so they know it's over there, okay? So he's afraid that Britannia may be unsettled while the island of Ireland remains in libertate, in freedom, okay? So he's concerned that for as long as there is this like bastion of Celtic freed people, that the other Celts are going to always look over there and say, oh, like I wish I were like the Irish. They aren't occupied by the Romans. And so he's almost thinking the only way to conquer all the Celts is to indeed conquer all the Celts. For as long as there are some unconquered Celts, all the other Celts are going to wish for their freedom. Quod si hibernos superaverimus, non modo pacem in Britanniae habebimus, sed etiam magnas divitias comparabimus. Okay, this is a construction. The word si means if. Okay, so this is what is known as a conditional sentence. Okay, so like if this, then that. Now, languages have different ways that they form what we call a conditional sentence. This one, I'm going to give you a literal translation of this first, and then I'm going to show you how we would tweak this into an idiom that English uses. Okay, so here's the literal Latin translation. First off, literal. Because, quod, si hibernos superaverimus. This is a future perfect tense. Very rare, okay? So you know that the V there, this is the perfect stem onto which we put the forms of the future tense of the verb to be, okay? We learned these just in passing. They come up so little that they're not worth like memorizing for as often as you see them, okay? So if we will have overpowered the Irish, we will have peace. Habebimus. We will have peace. Pacem habebimus. Now, non modo, not only in Britannia. Okay, we will have peace not only in Britannia, sed etiam, but again, future tense verb, comparabimus. We will even obtain great riches. Okay, so again, this is how Latin forms a conditional sentence. If we will have done this, we will have this. Okay? Now, that's not how English operates it. When English forms a conditional sentence, we make it kind of like more ambiguous, like we would turn it to the following, okay? Because if we were to overpower the Irish, okay, we would have peace not only in Britannia, but we would even obtain great riches. Okay, so again, look at the Latin literal. We will have, we will. English, if we were to, we would. So English uses subjunctive, where Latin uses future tense. Audio enim ex mercatoribus metalla Hiberniae aurum multum continere. For I hear from merchants that, okay, now the word I'm translating as for is enim. Enim, like tamen and also igitur that you have learned, is what is called a postpositive. A postpositive word is one that always comes second, okay? So even though in my English translation I'm translating for first, in Latin, enim would always come second. So audio enim, for I hear. From merchants, now this is triggering an indirect statement. I hear from merchants that metalla Hiberniae, the mines of Ireland, continere, contain much gold. Now the idea is merchants actually go back and forth between Britannia and Hibernia. And so they know stuff about Ireland that the Romans don't, because the Romans haven't been there. But the merchants have, and he's heard from merchants that the mines of Ireland contain much gold. So this is a reason to invade Hibernia. The other reason he has already given is that he believes that until Hibernia is conquered, Britannia will never be truly conquered. Equidem credo hanc insulam legione una obtineri posse. Indeed, I believe that. Equidem is just a word that means indeed. This is triggering another indirect statement. I believe that hanc insulam, this island, posse, this is the infinitive of the verb to be able. So this island is able to, and we have a passive infinitive. this island is able to be obtained. Obtained by what? Well, we have an ablative here. Obtained by or with one legion. What he means is he believes that just one Roman legion can go from Britannia over to Ireland and conquer it. Milites sunt parati, signum imperatoris alacriter expectatur vale. The soldiers are ready. The signal of the emperor, signum imperatoris, genitive singular here, is awaited eagerly. Present tense passive verb. Is awaited eagerly. Vale, goodbye. Now, it is unknown whether or not the Romans ever did actually invade Ireland, okay? So this reference to a plan to invade Ireland does not have any follow-on in Roman history. There is some archaeological evidence that there was at least like a Roman outpost on Ireland. The Romans were strong enough that they certainly could have like created like an outpost without having to invade the whole country. Maybe the Irish just decided to leave them alone since they didn't seem to be doing an all-out invasion. Nevertheless, it is not true that the Romans ever did successfully invade Ireland, and as I described earlier, their invasion of Britannia did not actually leave any long-lasting effects in terms of, for instance, leaving behind a Romance language.